What up, peeps? How y'all doing? What's going on? Yeah, hey, is that you, pal? Robert, how you doing, man? What's going on? I'm sorry we missed last week. Let me go ahead, get that out there, apologize. You ever have one of those situations where you just kind of have too much to do and you like let time get away from you? You know that kind of crap? The kind of crap that you Yeah, that kind of happened. I was very sorely disappointed in, like, seriously, but the time I got into any position where I'd been able to record, it was like, I think it was 10:30. I think. It might have been later. I don't know. It was at least 10:30 because I know I'd looked at it like, oh my God. I suppose I could have just put up a little something like, hey man, sorry, we'll be back next week. But some odd reason in my mind, it was just like, hell with it. Just go ahead and put this up there. Shorten the name, like what? The back in the R's that appears? I know. Well, that's the thing. Is like we put it up there because I don't know. Something me and Mark were talking about, and we were like, I don't know. This one included more catchphrases because you put IVPAC Global. Like, remember we had it as such, and then we changed it to this. I mean, I suppose we could go back to that. I guess there's really no harm, no foul, right? So either way, well, it also might help if we actually, stuck to the programming. Yeah. Again, sorry. This last week was a bummer. But, we're back. We're live. We're happening. Does that seem a little bit, like down there, is this a little too much? Is this, like, first of all, wait. I realize I'm shortening. Why did I should have done that. Just checking, because, okay. But yeah, I was worried about the words, though. What do you mean when you change it to Powerhouse? What do you mean? Powerhouse was a better hit than... Well, yeah, because seriously, your name, Tap Paper, very cool. I mean, literally, that's a very cool name. It's original, it's unique, and yet probably doesn't, like, go, work in searches except for people in the know. So, I mean, I get it. I kind of liked ours. I mean, I liked it that way, but again, it's like, what's more in the know? And I kind of wanted people to understand, like, some people were asking. There's always been a couple, like, what does it stand for? So, it kind of clarifies. But if you go to the website, it clarifies immediately, too. So, I don't know. It's something we played with. So, actually, truthfully speaking, chances are we'll probably go back. It was just an experiment, and the experiment, I probably, I think it could be done. So, yeah. How did they, wait, really? What do you mean? How did they do that? Not that one that you just put up, was it? I thought I watched that one because, dude, what really caught me out was the Black Widow looking. Dude, the Black Widow looked hype. I like the paint job, the tape job. I shouldn't say the paint job is the tape job. The tape job looked really cool. You know what I mean? So, your first video. Oh, so wait, you mean it just happened, or are you talking about like way back in the day? Because I wouldn't doubt it. Maybe one of your videos to do a short. Man, that would piss me off now. You know how long we run these shows? Every one of these turns into like a 2-hour marathon. So, like, to freaking get cut into a show, oh, that would piss me off. Like, I don't know if you remember, there's a show that I did. It was like actually one of the first solo shows, I think, when Mark went into Sovid. What do you call that shit? Lockdown? Yeah, that's the word. He went into Soviet lockdown, and I don't need that. And like, man, it may not have seemed like. Oh, that's what that was. It may not have seemed like it, but my show, you go back one and it's like the one that's blurry and like seriously, whatever it was a good one. It lasted almost 2 hours. Apparently I was extremely funny in there, but it got blurred to freak out, and I don't even know how the hell it happened. I don't know if it was my end or YouTube said like, "Nah, you're being too insensitive. We'll have to stop this mess." Because you never can tell with this internet shit. So, I don't know. Okay, it just happened. Yeah, like, did they give you a reason why? I mean, they just up and do it. I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna be right back. I'll be back in like 2 seconds. I gotta get something to show you. I don't know if y'all remember these, but I'm sorry. I found them again. Well, I was talking about like I can't find the damn things, can't find them, and lo and behold, I went and I found them. They were in the least likeliest spots. I put them actually in the filing cabinet under the IVPAC stuff. Yeah, I don't know how the hell I lost them, but yeah. That just sucks, though. I mean, seriously, they just like, how do they go back to a video that you did like 7 years ago and decide like, turning this into a short, or whatever logic that they used? You know what I mean? I don't know what they were doing, what they saw. Where they like just it's a short now. What kind of bastard ass crap is that? You know what I mean? It's just wrong. It's just wrong. The dude does okay. Does the screen look alright? Because why in the hell is that so damn blurry down? Like, the rundown here. Like, okay, not on my screen, but right there, like, when you see it, where I'm seeing the preview, it looks really kind of, it is blurry? What the fuck happened? We having light issues? I mean, actually, the camera looks good, right? It's never been that big of a problem. I know I had a feeling about this, though. Seriously, what I was thinking what it could be is... I thought literally what it could be is the fact that we've got it so... that sucks. It might have... stop me if you've heard this one. Well, now the camera zoomed out again. This thing just does what it wants to do when it wants to do it. Seriously. Like, if you remember the last couple weeks I did it, actually looked like it was zoomed in. You couldn't see the edges. You couldn't see my desktop. Now you can, and it zoomed back out. Truthfully speaking, this is the setting I have had it on for, like, at least since you guys have been watching. I don't understand. I mean, like, when did it decide, oh, you're okay now? Is it because we flipped back last week, which was not last week, but the previous week, to Mark doing it, and now I came back, and now it's all Jewed up? I mean, what the hell happened? I'm not doing that, so I'm not going to do that, bird. Okay, sorry. You'll see me play with it a little bit. I'm just trying to figure out what the hell... what is going on with the words, because it shouldn't be that bad. I mean, you could read it, but it's just really, really blurry. Did I do anything? Can you tell anything's going on? Sorry, I had to be quiet because all I was doing was update. I'm trying to, like, okay, using OBS. To get OBS in here, OBS looks crystal freaking clear. And actually, here, the mat, the hand, anything you see looks clear, except the words. And I'm doing the freaking updates in the background, like I'm playing with that shit. But it's still blurry. And what kind of magic was that? What's going on? You guys can hear me okay, right? Please tell me. I should be able to be heard okay, I think. I hope. Now, wait a minute. What do you say? It's on YouTube and... did that get cut off? Because that looks funny. We get this idea. So, like, hey, dude, it's day 238 of the one-a-days. 238. I mean, that's a remarkable amount of freaking aircraft that you could possibly have at this point. Yeah, you really should. Like, it's a good amount. You know what I mean? It's a good amount. Why in the hell does it look like that? It is no joke bugging the piss out of me. I'm trying to see if I can see it on the screen too. Nope, it didn't do a damn thing. Okay, sorry. All right, so I thank you for telling me. Thank you for keeping me updated. I don't know why it's blurry. Hopefully it'll come back next week. But like I said, now it's like, again, why all of a sudden, I can only attribute it to the fact that the last time we did this via Mark taking over, and now we've done this via me taking over again. So now it like switched. Yeah, it's like, again, if you go back to my previous show where I hosted, which you had to go back 3 weeks now because we missed last week, and the previous week, NASA's took over. You know, I already did it before, but again, like it was cut off here. It was like it zoomed in. And I never had the camera zoomed in all this time, which was actually kind of frustrating because I was like, okay, camera's not zoomed. It shouldn't be like that. You should be getting the face full. I kind of prefer this. This is actually where I wanted it. I mean, it's one thing to zoom, but you guys, this is more scale-rific. You can see what I see. You know, you're seeing my whole, if anything's going on over here, you can see it. So I'd prefer it this way. I guess, I'm kind of dancing around the fact that I prefer it the other way, because if the other way was normal, then it's because the output's at 1920 by 1080, I think. Now that I think about it. Because I changed the output level. But that was because we were both playing with the output level. The output level before, like I did when I started up, and it was saying something about, oh, is it? Well, thank goodness. Okay, well then cool. Okay. All right, well, hell. And I don't care. You're good. I'm good. We're good. We're having a party. No, for real. I was worried about it because we were playing with the output levels and stuff like that. And apparently, like when I started the stream, that's why there was a little hiccup. And I don't know if you guys picked up on that when it now walked or ready for liftoff was happening. I had to switch off and switch back on because YouTube was telling me the output, because the output was at 1280 by, and I didn't want it at 1280 by. I don't know how it got there. Must have been left over from where we were playing with. But it said, like, this ain't going to work because we're set up for a 1980 by. So I'm like, son of a bitch. Stopped it. Switched to 1980. Came back in. Shouldn't have been a hiccup you spotted, really. But I don't know. But anywho. That's neither here nor there. Well, I'm still seeing the preview. And the preview's just like. Actually, I'm sorry. I didn't pay attention. You're right. It is clear. My bad. Okay. Well, again, I really only care if this is clear. So if this is clear, we're cool. You know what I mean? So you guys can see, you can see, and I've been, well, another reason, of course, is I've been working on my channel so I can get these videos posted up. And Robert, I gotta apologize again. I meant to give you those damn pictures. You know, you think people wouldn't forget about stupid shit like that because it's like, I could do this right now. You know, like right now, here they come. But I don't think about it and I'll do it and there it goes. You know what I mean? So again, that's just me being a dumbass. Forgive me. I'm sorry. I mean, like literally, I think I'll probably just go in there right now and give you some of the. We were talking about the pictures. You just thought like some of the better fly looking ones and stuff, right? So I mean, yeah, I can hook that up. That'll be no problem. I don't know why I didn't put them in there. Like I said, I got a collection where I think they're going to be the calendar shots, you know, and we'll make an IVPAC calendar. I developed an allergy to COVID. Yeah, but anyway, so I was thinking about using the better shots, which is, again, I want to reiterate for you people out there, like, send me, or like, post them up on our Facebook page, the IVPAC Facebook page. If you've got some good flights, obviously you guys got some good flight videos, but get some stills off those things, or like just, you know, switch it to still photograph and take a couple good still shots because I'd like to have some. Because eventually we'll build an IVPAC calendar. Oh, again, I had one before. You guys weren't involved in it, but I was kind of. I have enough goodie pictures that I can do that sort of thing. But I'm fishing through them now. And of course, I've got my IVPAC drive attached, so all these are in here where they can be found. You guys get a chance to check out the way the maps have been hyped up, and all the documents are good. The documents are good. I was working on that for a while and finally got it to where I'm happy with it. I think all the documents are updated. I mean, seriously, actually, now I look back at it, all the documents are updated. So, as far as me and you, Robert, we got to get together and make sure we know on that map where your base is. I got the one, just need the other. Which one do I get? Lanier, Melbourne? Lanier, I think. Right, now I need Melbourne's. So, but, you've seen some of the, like, indirectly through the YouTube home channel, like in the background shot, and if you actually go to, like, the actual IVPAC webpage, well, actually, even on Facebook, our header actually flips. But you've seen those pictures are, a lot of those are, like, standing shots, aircraft on the tarmac. You don't really want those so much as you want the ones in flight, right? I want to check on that and make sure, because I have plenty of shots of plenty of planes doing plenty of things, be it sitting still or in flight. So, looking back on some of these here, like, I'm seeing a whole bunch of, I'm just trying to debate, of course, or make sure which ones we're getting as well. So, that's a good shot. I got a lot of them that are like, I mean, the calendar quality ones really are calendar quality, but I'm going through to make sure that we see the ones that are like, okay, that one's good, okay, that one's good, you know. You even have, like, a couple of shots that we have there are of, like, multiple planes in the air at one time. Not as many as we'd like there to be, but there are. So, there's, that's that one, I believe, with Firecat, Nebula, and Chaos in the same picture, I believe, I want to say, yeah. Those are cool. Bloody hell, where's that plane? Oh, there it is. God, you can't see it. Yeah. So, some, like, again, I want some of those available for the calendar shots just because of, like, these are things you don't typically see, you know, the aircraft flying together. And like you've seen in, like, our lead out pages, our lead out page here for IVPAC looks like that. We borrowed that from, like, the La Follette flying of 2012. It was a pretty big day, which is one of the things that me and you and, like, others are always talking about. Was like, we got to have one of those. Get together so we have a whole bunch of contractor aircraft out there. Yeah, we all want to see that. I want to see how some of these planes perform, you know, like, I just like the thought of making them, seeing what everybody has in different areas. There's a lot of these that are, well, they're cool because of where they're at, you know, and, like, they'll fly differently just because in Georgia they may fly different than they would in Florida, than they would in Missouri, than they would in Montana, for example, you know. So, I mean, obviously there's different atmospheric regions everywhere, and of course planes, like paper airplanes, don't fly in real air, so you're not getting into, like, having to contend with a jet stream and stuff like that, but they do fly low enough. And again, I've always debated on how much, like, does that really matter, how much that matters, because the planes that we fly, I've taken to different ranges and flown myself and personally seen, like, in one state versus in another. The ones that I've done that with and seen, I have drawn the conclusion that the airspace does make a difference. But I also know that smaller airspaces just do, again, like, if you take it to a park where there's, say, some tall canopy of trees, and you keep your planes out the trees but fly in them, that's definitely a different area than if you took it to an open field. So, and what's better? I don't know. A lot of these guys that go and take theirs and like, set world records and stuff like that would argue that, oh, it's the plane, it's indoors is the best place. Well, I don't know. Which one did you make? I only hit, you must have made Cirrus. Oh, that's what I smelled outside. Oh.
I put the essential oils on the wool ball for the laundry to dry.
Holy cow. I took them outside and like, wait, is that what I was talking about? No, which one did you post up there? I was trying to wonder, because, like, what have I made up there? You guys have seen phase 1. I think you got phase 2, right? Valkyrie. You made Indy. You made the stunt nose, the reverse slant nose, ND19. And the official ones on my channel, Hagataka and Cirrus, right? I know I'm slacking. I'm really, really slacking. Only because I want to make the damn channel look right. Yeah, and see, like, oh my god, dude. That's why I'm so worried about giving you Nova. Like, I'll be asked about Nova, and I kind of do want to give Nova. It's just like, dude, if it messes up. Oh, was it? Okay. Really? Oh my god, dude. I must have seriously not paid attention to that. I'm going to have to check that out again. Holy crap. Did I die, or did I miss that video? And I'm talking about a different video. My weeks ran together because I was missing last week, so, and it could be that. Forgive me. Yeah, but again, if you want, yeah, they tree, man, I am always dealing with a lot of my planes that get treed a lot. Seriously. Like, it's all, this thing flies, but if I build the extended version of the Banshee here, man, yeah, it's going to get treed. And that's why, if you have your own yard, of course, you just go outside and fly. Obviously, it's good to look forward to that. It's best, you know, so you don't have to pack your planes up every time you fly, because that makes it hurt. Seriously, that hinders your flight lifestyle. You're not as likely to fly if you have to pack your damn planes up every time you want to go, right? No, I mean, seriously, we all suffer from that. That's one of the reasons why I hate the fact that I spent my last 10 years being in that apartment, so I didn't have a yard that I could just step outside and fly in my own yard. And I've got it, and I realized, like, all my planes are, not all, but most, are way beyond a yard. I need to really worry about my own airspace, and this is something we talk about when we talk about the rolls, of course. Like, your rolls ought to be, like, know where you live. That's, like, the key. These rolls are all, like, a good parameter and stuff, but you have to know where you live. And you have to know where these combats would happen. So it's like, whether you have 4 acres, a fourth of an acre, or 40 acres, you don't have to cover all of that in any case, depending on, like, what it is. I mean, if you live on 40 acres and, like, 39 of it's wooded, well, here at IVPAC, like we like to say, we prepare for combat, right? Are you likely to be attacked from the trees? No, you're going to be attacked in an open area. You only need to worry about covering your open area, the direct yard, or the street even. I'm not saying go play Pet Cemetery out there and wait for the 55-mile-an-hour truck to go by. But, I mean, use some reasonable thinking and like, you know, your potential enemies out there, or your potential friends, or whatever. If you're going to fly with them, you'll need a space. Hopefully it's not a park that's down the road, because, again, like, that kind of hinders your flight attitude. Seriously, if you got to pack planes up to fly each time, you may not be likely to do it. Whereas if you can just take 5 outside from your door, you're more likely to fly. You know, so again, it's easier with a yard. But the key is, of course, know your yard. If you're going to be in a potential combat situation, there's a potential fight going on in the yard. Well, again, if your yard's only a quarter of an acre, or if it's 4 acres, but one of it's wooded, or 3 of it's wooded, you know, it's like you only need cover that open area. You ain't going to play around the trees. That's not coverage. The trees act as their own natural defense. So, consideration. Yeah, I'm not like, I made a plan to cover 38 acres. That is really cool. I hope somebody does, but by the same token, you don't need it. You ain't going to be fighting over there. So, but it's really cool. I mean, by all means, try to go for that world record. Man, seriously, try to go. Don't let a thing like trees stop you. Waterproofing? Let me see it. I'm checking it out right now. Does that, okay, but how wet is it? Like, is it bad? Like, is it bad wet? I mean, we haven't, like, it's not, this isn't like a problem, is it? Where, like, it's going to make the plane so wet that it won't fly or it'll warp it beforehand? Look who I'm talking to. I'm talking to Mr. Taper here. You just tape it, and then you put that stuff on it. It's like the epitome of what it needs to be. Okay, I get it, but I'm thinking of the rest of us here who are still stuck in paperland, okay? I mean, yeah, as long as it is. All right. Hydro Express. Okay. And this is, of course, for sale. All right. I got to check into that shit. Yep. I got to check into that shit. That seems rather cool. As long as, of course, again, I'm not going to bust my planes open and I don't really want to, like, destroy. I mean, I'm also let me get this out there. I'm also considering, like, okay, is full-on tapering necessary? Or can I get away with just taping the wings? You know? And this goes back to the 08 fuselage aircraft that I keep on working on or whatnot. Well, this would be a really good way of zero-weighting it, wouldn't it? Instead of worrying about all the folds, you tape the wings, and then the paper that is the body is obviously going to be lighter than the tape. So the tapered part, the wings, the only parts that need to provide lift. So that's actually a really cool idea. And then, of course, spraying it makes it waterproof. Boy, that's a pretty kick-ass idea. But it is made to spray on paper. Okay, well, good. All right. So, yeah. I'm down. Check that out. I want to see how that works. Like, yeah, I'm going to have to order me some of that. That'll be pretty cool. Did you do it on... Wait, okay, so... All right, yeah, because I remember watching... No, that's right. Okay, I saw your tape job of the X-47B, the Type 4, the black one with the Black Widow look. Okay. That's the one... I didn't get to watch. I didn't get to watch it yet. That's why. It could be that video. I watched the Raven Black. The Black Edition Raven. And maybe that's why I didn't get a chance to watch X-47 yet. Because those are your latest two, right? You'd finished like Proto Bomber and Paper Helicopter, I think, or something. So maybe that's what you mentioned it in. But dude, yeah. I'm definitely going to have to, I could probably taper. I could just imagine, because again, if the wings are straight, you don't need to worry about the fuselage being, like, waterproof or taped or whatever. Dude, you may have literally just solved my freaking problem. I didn't really consider the fact that you could just tape something and not tape something else, you know what I mean? Like, so, I'll definitely be after that. Hey, on a side note, since there's been a couple people and myself that consider like this to be my F-35. The Banshee is now starting to look a lot like, something more advanced. Did you hear that news blurb that said like the Air Force is thinking about retiring its older F-35s? I mean, like, it's really come to this? Dude, last time I checked, I think they just passed like the 250 threshold. So there's 250 F-35s in the Air Force inventory. Which makes it, I think because they were crossed over, they're like the second most numerous bird or something like that, aircraft, whatever the case. And they're thinking about retiring some of the older ones. Like, you haven't had these that long. You don't have that many of them. And you're already thinking about retiring some of them? Can anybody read in between those lines and read the fine print there? Because, dude, that's a new precedence on how their like budgetary constrictions are being applied and what's going on behind the scenes. I mean, this would be the first time probably in the history of time that like you've actually retired a plane that's less than a decade old, spent this much money on. I mean, why would you do that? At the very least, why don't you give it to one of like the allies that are in on the program building guns, or something, or leave them. I mean, it doesn't make any damn sense. But well, yeah, I can understand them wanting to retire the F-22 because the F-22 is they have made it into a joke. It's a very good plane, but they have made it into a joke by buying, like, a sixth of the amount they said they were going to originally. I mean, for fuck's sake, they were going to exchange F-15s one for one. Now, not only are we still flying said F-15s, but we couldn't even, well, we could now, but that's only because they reduced the number of both. Anyway, but, like, it sure sounds to me like they're trying to save money for something bigger, better, and better. They're trying to leapfrog is what they're trying to do. And I also think they're trying to leave somebody with, like, the bill. They're trying to cash out on the check. Like, seriously, why would they have spent all this time, like, I don't know, building up and saying they're going to replace the F-16 one for one, and the AV-8s one for one for the Marines, and so on and so forth, and then go ahead and retire them? I mean, why? Why? You need... No. More likely... Okay, here's the thing. More likely, what I was thinking of was the fact that they want to, like, have the near peers and the allies have the current plane. They want to dump it and have the better plane. Because this is the first, and I think only, to this point, plane that we built and exported and gave them the same plane that we've got. Like, they didn't strip the F-35 down. Everybody's getting the same F-35. I mean, we might have our own avionics suite, obviously, but that's it. And, Israelis are definitely going to upgrade theirs. But, again, there's the same plane. Every other plane we've ever done, if we've sold it to somebody, we've dumbed it down. So we've still kind of basically gained a half generation. This one, everybody's close. And when you got something like this, you're exporting as widely. Come on, man. Somebody is bound in this day of social media and cameras and videos and drones and stuff to see these planes. It's like when you tell us that like somebody's caught spying and sending out documents on the F-35, it's like, really? Who? The people in the kindergarten library? Because there's books on it in the freaking library. Whoever your foreseen enemy is probably checked it out of the library and like, ooh, that looks cool. I can't believe it. It just sounds to me like they're like, the retirement is a farce, and they're like, okay, no, we're going to stop this entirely, and y'all are just going to have this plane where we're going to go on with the, because they're already talking NGAD, and they're already talking about something else, like beyond that. So, yeah, I just, well, they could make F-22s. They say the tooling, they love to use that word. They throw that around. The tooling is not there. But you can restart the factory. Don't tell me it ain't cost effective. Especially because considering if you made it even up to date. I mean, seriously, man. Remember? First F-35s came to squadrons in 1997. 20 years ago. 25 years ago almost. So even F-22s aren't spring chickens anymore. But B, that's 25 years of electronic technology. I mean, yes, the F-22 was made with modular stuff, so you could upgrade it as need be, but still the core stuff that you couldn't change would still be old. You know what I mean? So it's like, no, that's what NGAD is for. And that's why you're already looking at NGAD. That's why they've already, allocated money to the program. They're looking ahead. And I would venture to say they're not even looking that far ahead. And I want to point out, I know this is a long range turning, but I love talking planes anyway. But I want to say also that all of us people who are airplane fanatics for any odd kind, do not forget about the drones. If OAE was here, he would talk about his, favorite drones. And that's all well and good. I can't do that. Robert, you mentioned them too. I don't even know what that means. Okay, I can't like drones for me are something I throw up to shoot down. That's it. You guys, I'm sure you're talking about like little bitty bird. Or he's talking about little bitty birds that serve some purpose for them, and more power to them. But I can't. I don't know. I'm more like the Air Force. We're talking big budget programs here. um, but like we can't forget the drones, and understandable that like drones take up a lot of our budgetary constraints too. So while we do have reduced numbers of the F-22, and we're talking about replacing, and obviously we probably couldn't at this point anymore replace the F-16 one for one with the F-35, especially because looking back on it, of course, you're not really going to do it because if you replace the F-16 one for one while also replacing A-10s, you're going more than one for one, and that's not sequestered. They said like they only wanted like 1,700, the amount of F-16s we've got. Well, tack on the extra 300 for the A-10s, which they keep reducing the number of, but slowly. You know what I mean? So it's like, okay, they should have had more. You should have about 2,000. But they're not going to do that. And I'd almost venture to say, seriously, in another, hell, maybe by the end of this year, definitely by the end of fiscal year 22, we'll put it that way, I think there's going to be reduced number of total buy of F-35s. Because this is the way Air Force is leading. It's not just going to be retirement. It's going to be like, no, we need this money to procure the NGAD. And again, like more drones. Because there's got to be a drone we haven't seen or heard yet. Got to be. I don't know if it's squadron strength, wing strength, or base strength. But we've already got like, what I can't remember the last number. It's like 300 plus Predators. Or, excuse me, Reapers. We still got Predators, but we only got like a couple dozen. If that. Because we did retire them. But again, 300 plus Reapers, they're all capable of carrying weapons. Just no man in them. So it's like, well, dude, that's 300 combat capable aircraft. Close air support, maybe strike, definitely recon, because we also have Global Hawk. But I mean, you know, and Global Hawk, obviously, we use that right alongside U-2s. So, same planes, just somehow the reason or another, the men in the cockpit do a little bit something than the computer on the ground, or the man on the ground. So, I don't know, but it points to like, we obviously when you get into the position of power, like the generals and the colonels and stuff, and the Puzzle Palace, getting all the monies and like the SecDef, and you're getting all the money for appropriations. You see all these programs, so you know, like you crunch the numbers and you see how to divvy them up. We as the public, as just being fanatics, just looking at it from the outside, have a tendency, and even some like lesser people or the old timers forgetting how it was, or forgetting how it is as opposed to how it was. Just see a fighter or an attacker or like whatever aircraft, combat aircraft, you replace it one for one. Well, like we're retiring an F-15, I need an F-22 or I need an F-35. You're not seeing the whole picture, which is like unmanned combat systems. You're just seeing manned combat systems. And again, 300 drones capable of launching weapons is formidable. So that's more formidable than Predator. Predator was only played with dropping like weapons from time to time. Reaper was meant to do this. So like, could Reaper possibly, like, yeah, I know. But still, that's been true since they were there. It's not like we're going to stop. And I mean, again, you have a fleet. How are you going to hack the whole fleet? Yeah, you could, but it hasn't been done yet. I don't think they have. They don't swarm. We haven't gone the swarm route yet because that's what they're worried about. You hack them all, you control the swarm, then you got a problem. So right now I think it works on an individual basis. And still, they don't care. They obviously don't care, or else we would have stopped the drone program a long time ago. So you've got that. And I mean, again, yeah, Global Hawk being about return. I don't understand the Air Force's fixation on keeping like current planes and then retiring old ones. Or keeping old planes current, retiring new ones. Like, okay, we're going to get rid of the B-1 and the B-2 for the B-21 and keep the freaking buff. How is it a plane that's 70 years old You want this fucker to fly another 30, at least. I know, platform and shit. Yeah, well, the metal is still 70 years old. It's been through repeated pressurization and depressurization. Can't you just build a new one? Don't give me this tooling crap. You've got the plans. You could do it. You could build anything old again if you wanted to. You just don't want to. But that's neither here nor there. The point is, like, so you're going to replace the newest crap instead of the oldest crap. And my point of view on that, like, why are we talking about a re-engineering program for the 70-year-old plane 70 years in? This is why, oh, God, I'm sure this probably frustrates somebody on the Hill. But again, like, okay, so this 70-year-old plane, we've already talked about re-engineering it for the past 20. Haven't done it. It's approaching the twilight of its career, which it's been doing for the past 40 years. But now we're thinking about re-engineering it when it's going to go and it's on its way out? What? How the fuck didn't you re-engine this thing a quarter of a century ago? A half century ago. You should be on the third re-engineering program. Ugh. I don't think that can happen. I don't think you can replace fighter aircraft. I think you could replace manned with unmanned, 1-for-1. Or like they're talking about, the manned wingman, the loyal wingman concept, which again, you notice they're flying that too. I think NGAD is probably meant to work hand in hand with that, and when NGAD is finalized, that's when the F-22 is going to get the axe, and that's when the F-35 will probably get the axe. And yes, I said that because, I mean, you've seen how they work. They talk about how they work together. Well, that's what loyal wingman is supposed to do. Why do we need a man in the cockpit of this complex aircraft when you can have loyal wingman do that? Bomb trucks. I don't think missile systems will ever replace aircraft. Because we were missile happy in the 60s and it didn't happen. I mean, we did it kind of then. You look back on it and it's like missiles kept coming out, kept coming forward on both sides of the Iron Curtain. And we were like, okay, well, we got to replace this because the missiles can reach this. We got to replace this, change our missions. We got to, so on and so forth. But we still made more aircraft. I just don't think, I mean, if you can hack, a lot harder to hack the missiles, but still, it's like, now, there's something about no powers that be in the Department of Defense are ever going to trust missiles like that. They're going to see it as a fire and forget weapon or like, something that could be man controlled to that degree, and like, no, because as long as there's aircraft, there will be aircraft. Somebody probably more famous than me said that once. Seriously, I mean, if you're going to keep developing aircraft programs, the other person's going to develop aircraft programs. You're not just going to shut it down because we're going all missiles. Beat that. Because you can. Besides that, as many people like to say, like, they're maneuverable, but they're not that maneuverable. They're just not. Not only that, but if you could make lethal drones smaller, faster, why would you bother with, like, even missiles or manned aircraft if you could do that with drones? So I couldn't see that happening. And aircraft, like, oh yeah, your piston planes, okay, sure, they could. But I'm trying to think of, like, okay, you picture the way the piston's going to work.
Sure you don't want nothing?
No, I'm not, but I don't know what to say about it, so no, I'm cool. I wouldn't even know, like, how they would fare on the battlefield. I mean, the battlefield's getting more modern. No, piston aircraft aren't being passed up by technology. I don't feel that at all. However, unless they develop some, like, why don't they bring back ducted fans for something like that if they're really worried about it? Somewhere where they can actually bury the engine. Because, again, missiles or any ground fire that these piston aircraft that are going to be coin or FAC or CAS that are close and low, like what A-10s do, if it's piston, we're thinking what? Maybe one, tops of two forward-facing props, right? All you need to do is blast some shrapnel in the front, the engine's going to eat it. This is true with any engine, but jets survive that a little bit better. So I just don't see. I mean, the loiter times, the economy makes sense, but the range does not. It's like you got to believe in your air dominance, as they like to call it now. You got to believe in that so you can forward deploy these close air supporters if they're really truly pistons, because they're not going to have the legs to be able to reach on their own. You're going to have to forward deploy them, probably in the mouth of a bigger bird or a boat. And that, again, something else that Dodd and some generals just don't like. They're not going to like that. Hence why they shot down versions of those planes already, you know? The AT-6. Yeah, it's not getting any love because of that. It's like, well, the Wolverine, stuff like that, they cannot deny how it works, but they also can't see, every time they bring up the scenario where it comes out there, they can't see the full potential. They can't see the full benefits of doing it. So I don't see that happening either. Low power drones. I mean, Predators work. Or Reapers work. Again, talking about the drones, you have to talk about piston aircraft because look, they're powered by props. We still haven't had a jet yet, Global Hawk, but all it does is recon that we know. But I mean, those same planes, yeah, they're recon with some weapons, but they're still props, aren't they? So, are we gonna go with the jet powered? Yeah, of course we're gonna go with the jet powered drones. But when the hell are we gonna get there? We should have had them. Freaking Reapers should have been jet powered. I don't know. It's true. Yeah, right. There are. Yeah, I know. They're smart missiles. Yeah, but there's been smart missiles. I mean, how smart do we want to get? I just think it's still going to be. We'll have them, but they're still an augmentation. That's all. It's still augmentation. And yeah, right. Okay, piston planes are cheaper, but again, the powers that be, no general, no colonel. Fuck, no sergeant major is going to want to see their jets replaced by pistons. Nobody's going to want to see 3,000 prop planes coming at them. We got out of that in World War II. I don't think anybody sees that as the answer. They may see that as a short-term solution, but it ain't the answer. Sure, if you're like the Bolivian Air Force, maybe, but I mean, it's not. I don't think it's where they're going. And holy cow, we turned this into a pretty good rant about this. Yeah, get into this crap. Jet engines are fragile, but jet engines can be made to be a lot more sturdier, especially if they're going to be doing that sort of thing. I mean, how many A-10s have been lost in combat? You know what I mean? Like, it's neither here nor there. F-16s get lost, but the F-16s get lost because of stupid reasons. Not because the engine is ingested shrapnel. They just get shot the hell down. Or they crash because somebody pulled a stupid somewhere. Mechanic, pilot, who knows? But, I mean, I don't know. I love the way our atmosphere is changing for that. I love the way the scenarios are changing, but I don't see how. Thank God we don't have budgets in IVPAC. I would have to cut down so many planes. Which, by the way, I'm going to do. I have a force reduction coming up. And I was talking to you guys about the roles and how, cover your own airspace and stuff. My airspace, my current airspace, can be covered quite well. Dude, I can fly a phase from my front yard to the edge of my backyard. It's not the biggest of feet. I don't consider my yard that big. It's sizable. Probably about the same size that I had in South Carolina. But, I can cover my yard. Oh, no! Cookie down. I can cover my yard. And phases aren't supposed to do that. They're my strikers. And, like we pointed out, too, you got to know where... I know, man. You're right. World War II produced a hell of a lot better. That's why the F-15 will be included in the pantheon of that because of its successes. But no other plane. Hell, you can't even put the F-16 there. I just dislike the F-16 though. Never had any love for that plane. I like Big Ugly. Or, excuse me, I like Double Ugly. The Rhino. I like any plane with twin engines, okay? Twin engine planes have been my, like, shit. They're the shit. They're like the P-38, like the P-60, like the F-4, like the 111, like the F-18, like the F-14, the F-101. Twin engine planes, man. They're where it's at. Single engine, man, you lose an engine, what do you do? You know? I mean, back in the day, you lose an engine on a seriously, back in the day, if you lost an engine on a double engine, you were probably in trouble because the engines back then weren't the way they are now. Nowadays, you lose one, it's like, I guess we got to go home. All right. You glide it on back on the one engine. Before, of course, it's like asymmetrical rolling, probably shear wing off, too much power to the other one, blah, 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 blah. You got a problem. Props, not so much. Jets is more like where I'm going. But still, Yeah, dude, F-16, I've never liked it. I always had some friends, when we were growing up, I always had some friends who were like, yeah, F-16, Iron Eagle, baby. Yeah, dude, no. I hated it. I hated the F-16 for what it represented, too. It was more than just that. First of all, it looked dopey. You know how some planes look mean? The F-4 looks pretty damn badass. Like, that's a tank. Don't fuck with it. The A-10 just looks like the plane is holding the gun. It's badass. Don't fuck with it. The F-16, it basically looks like it's just laughing. I mean, this ain't fierce. This is just stupid. Yeah, you can paint your stupid, like, shark's mouth on the intake, but it's the intake. The place where you can't swallow anything, you're going to put a mouth? Okay. Yeah, dumb. Anyway, single engine, single cockpit, single tail. No, it's like everything about a plane I don't like. There's like two guys in there, two engines in there, two fins on there. It's always been that way. Double your pleasure, double your fun. But like, it's F-16, man. God. Why did it ever win? What happened? I don't know. And also, my thing was, like I said, the environment, what it represented was, it was the first plane that we actually bought that we thought, well, I mean, really, seriously, I mean, we looked at it before, but we really got into it with that. We're looking at replacing 2 to 3 to 4 planes with one plane. We hadn't really done that up until that point. We had, but we didn't really think about it from the design up. And I dislike that. I mean, the Air Force of the 70s was way cooler than the Air Force of the 2000s, 2010s, 2020s. You go to an air show, you see 3 planes. You went to an air show in the 80s, you saw 18 planes. You know what I mean? That was cool. There's such a variety. And I mean, yeah, it sounds great from a budgetary constraint. Like, we're saving money, maintenance. Yeah. For airplane fans, they don't give a crap. They're just like, buy one of each. Bring back the F-4. Bring back the B-58. Oh, God, please bring back the B-58. I love the B-58. Yeah, it's so stupid. Man. I mean, I understand why it beat the F-17. Have you seen the F-17, the original F-18? Man, the F-17 looked kind of dorky, too. I'm like, who the hell designed that crap? The F-18 became so much better. Although I did find it interesting that the Super Hornet did what I thought the original Hornet should have done to begin with. It's funny how the design teams that came up with the 14 and 15 knew what to do with those intakes, right? They gave them the squared intakes, which of course had ramps so you can control the flow of air in there for supersonic speeds, blah, blah, blah. And again, we were learning, because obviously the F-16 did it, and the F-18 did it, but obviously since we have proven with the Super Hornet, the original F-18 could have had angled inlets. Can you imagine how much cooler that damn thing could have been with angled inlets? The A model instead of the E model. I don't have too much against the E. I kind of like where they've gone with the Super Hornet. However, I also, again, it's part of that same kind of thing we talked about with the F-16. It's like that's just a way of taking out more planes, bastards. But Super Hornet's pretty cool. Well, I mean, to each their own. I just like the fact it's beefier. I also like the fact that it shows what you're capable of. You know, without it, the Air Force would have thought of turning the F-15 into the bomb truck, that EX that we're calling it, which should just be the F or G, goddammit. Air Force, get with the freaking program. You can't even get your own programs with the program. Let's call it the EX, because reasons. See, shit was so much simpler in the 80s when you actually had organization and shit made sense. You just like, well, next letter up. We made the E. This must be the F-15F. Actually, I believe the F-15F was a stillborn that they didn't want to call it. So this would be the F-15G. But no, can't do that. We're going to call it the EX because Twitter. I mean, what the fuck is the reason for that? It should be the G. And if they don't like that, turn it into the H. I don't care. Just stop doing this stupid crap. God, stupid crap. Why did you make it the F-35? Why isn't it the F-25 like it should be? I mean, or is there something you're not telling us? I would really like it to be that there's something you're not telling us. And there's 10 more fighters out there that we don't even know about. You know, the F-22 and the F-23 fought. The F-22 won. The F-23 is no more. Fine. And there was an F-24. But after that, there was nothing. Or was there? Is that why we went to F-35? I know that's not, but I'd like to believe that there is. I believe that there's an F-30 out there, and it's badass, and we've not seen it. And for all I know, they've retired the bastard already. But that would really piss me off. I'd like to at least think we would see it in retirement. I don't care what planes we've missed, as long as we saw them in retirement. But like, it just pisses me off that none of the military goes by all the traditions that they set for the eons up till social media. Basically, that's it. And I know it's not truly social media, but it's a social media era, that the press era that has caused this. Even if we built a new B-52, it wouldn't be the B-52I. We'd probably call it the B-52H3 or some stupid shit like that, even though it should be the I. The C-5M, prime example. Why was that not the C-5D? Because reasons. Fucking reasons. There's no reason why it's a C-5M. It should be the D. But no. Remember that phrase, saner heads will prevail? No, they truly are not prevailing at the Puzzle Palace the past 25 years. I don't get it. I don't get it. It's not supposed... The Super Hornet, be it known, the Super Hornet was never supposed to dogfight. The Super Hornet was the F-14 replacement. The Legacy Hornet was to be replaced by F-35s. Those should be the dogfighters, not the Super Hornet. The Super Hornet is supposed to stand off and kick your ass. Send the F-35s in. And the reason that timetable is skewed is because they aged out the Legacy Hornets, A through D. They used them so much, they aged them out. So they're making Hornets do something, the Super Hornets do something they're not supposed to be doing. Because they were supposed to have the replacement for the Legacy Hornets 10 to 15 to 20 years ago. See, that's the problem. The Super Hornet was not and is not supposed to be the dogfighter. It helps that it's maneuverable, and nobody claimed it to be that maneuverable because it's not what it's supposed to do. That's supposed to be a Tomcat replacement. Stand off, kill from a distance. The F-18, the little F-18s, the little Hornets, and then the F-35s are supposed to go in and dogfight and shit. But see what happens? The Navy's air fleet is a prime example of what went wrong with the budget. Bought the wrong planes and canceled the wrong planes at the wrong time. If everything went according to plan, we wouldn't be having this kind of conversation because you wouldn't see Super Hornets in that many dogfights. And be it known, the F-18 can still turn with an F-15. So it's not really technically supposed to turn with a 16, but it can turn with a 15. That's pretty good. I mean, it's still got the hybrid straight wing, still got the lurks, so it's still got really good AOA. You know, it's quite capable. It's just bigger. So, yeah, I know, but that was in its beefing up. I mean, again, they wanted to do that. They wanted to. This plane was overkill. Everything they did about it was overkill. They didn't want to just upsize the Legacy. They wanted everything like, I want landing gear beefier, I want the internal structure beefier, which in some ways didn't make sense. But they still wanted certain aspects, and yet still keep it a little stealthy. I mean, don't get me wrong, that thing is not nearly as stealthy as like our stealthier birds, the F-22, the F-35, blah blah blah. But it's stealthier than a Legacy Hornet, and they didn't give Northrop Grumman that kind of parameter. They were like the Boeing, they didn't give them that kind of parameter. They didn't say like, you don't have to be the size of a bee, just be the size of, a bookcase. So, but yeah, I don't know. I like it because, again, I love to picture that's where the Legacy Hornets should have been. That's the plane we should have been producing in '84, not the Legacy Hornet. And no offense to it, I think it's been a great little plane. But, man, they led a rough life. The Marines and Navy abused the shit out of those planes. And like I said, they aged them out. They just get overtaxed because the Navy's been overtaxed. Spread so thin that those planes were fighting, hitting constant trouble spots. And they were the first on scene. You'll notice the Air Force, they deploy, but they only deploy with like a wing or two, seriously. Whereas the Navy will send 3 to 4 carriers. You know what I mean? And they're always out there. Not only that, but, seriously, sea salt, saltwater. Really, I know they strip them down, but saltwater corrodes. Doesn't matter how much you gear them out. So, yeah. Hey, Mark, how you doing? I was wondering what happened to you, bro. Sorry, we're getting a little sidetracked talking about the real life Air Force. But I'd like to think that in the background, while the Air Forces, I'd like to think in the background we're talking about it in the context of how we, do our paper Air Force too. So it's all good, man. It's all good. Sold his old boat for scrap. That's so cool. Good to know dude, it's really freaking good to know there's somebody out there. Like, I love the fact that time is time and time goes on, but like, man, to see the greatest generation, I'm glad there's some still out there to teach these youngins how things are to be instead of like how they think they are. Man, it will be a sad day when we lose the last of those guys. Looking up to all the wrong sorts of people and following the wrong paths nowadays, man. Anyway, come on now. We gotta. Okay. So, what the hell else are we talking about? Oh, I wanted to get into I want to touch on, since we're approaching the summer months, about like your planes and how they handle the heat. You guys, now Robert, you deal with this way more than we have, and Mark's been dealing with this of late, not recently. But of late, he was dealing with this, like, how y'all's planes put up with the heat so well. Usually in our case, heat comes with humidity. And obviously, that deals a pretty big blow to an aircraft's potential by warping stuff that shouldn't be warped. And so on and so forth. And Robert, yeah, you definitely got a leg up on that situation because you're dealing with planes that get taped. And as we talked about, I'm definitely going to consider taping these wings, especially on my... Oh, man. Dude, I love the Banshee, man. I love the way the sucker looks. I want to play with this thing more often. I've been flying Vampires a lot lately, though. I don't know why. I don't know why I've done that. I flew a Vampire in the yard yesterday, as a matter of fact. Got a few sorties in there, and like, dude, I love those things too. Any plane that loves to fly the way... I need to put up a video of the Vampires for you. Because you have to see this thing in flight to understand. Like, you've seen the pictures. Showed the pictures on the show about a month and a half back. And yeah, those they're cool, obviously. You know, cool birds we're talking about here. But, like, it's not, you know, it's not, it's not like describable. You have to see it. I mean, I'm trying to think of a way. You have to see them fly. You have to understand how they do what they do. Oh, that's so wrong. That's so wrong. Like, okay, like here, let me show you this one real quick. This is a capture of a vampire in flight, and it's overhead. All right, you'll notice. I mean, it's freaking overhead, but vampires don't typically do that. And again, to watch it though is like this is one of those planes that's truly the unpredictable. When we say unpredictable, you don't know what's going to do next. This plane, you don't know what to do next. The only thing you really know what this plane is going to do is if you throw it at the ground, it won't hit the ground because it's wing chord to ratio. It's obviously fuselage shorter than the wings are wide. You know it's going to stunt, so it loops. But getting a picture like that, like I said, just telling you, just showing you something like that doesn't really, it doesn't give you the full effect because that's not something they typically do. Obviously, it makes for a pretty picture. You get the idea the plane flies good, but that one like I showed you before where it's, you know, like near the ground, those are more indicative of how those aircraft fly. Typically, it's like, okay, they're like this. I was going to alter that shot so it's in the middle, but because like that's actually the picture's centered. Okay, I took this one down range a little bit during one of my exercises with it. It doesn't get much higher than those pictures are. Like the last one you saw is overhead, yes, but it's still only about 5 feet overhead. Whereas this one, again, it's about 10, 12 feet up. That's it. They don't get very high. But it kind of gives you the illusion that they do. And I don't want you to think that, like, yeah, vampires are, you know, and vampires like my dive bomber. This is being debated in my version of the Corps right now because vampire is like something that we touched on before when we guys were talking about how like enlarging of the planes like translates out well or doesn't translate out well. I wanted to get on that because a lot of times vampire is a good example of it. A lot of times if you make it something bigger, it's going to fly differently. And I know I've touched on this, but I was going to say it again. It's like I don't think I can make vampire be my dive bomber. Well, big. It's going to be a dive bomber of the size that it normally is because, which means it's like the smallest bomber I'm going to have because it's fighter size. But anyway, when it's big, it doesn't do the same things it does while it's small. Like I can trust it's going to loop to loop. It throw it at the ground, pulls up. You know, it's got a short flight and it spends its time buzzing your head. Doesn't do that when it's bigger. It flies all over damn tarnation when it's like bigger. So I can't trust that. A little disappointing, but utterly true. So like here, one more, just to show you one more. See, this one is a little bit higher, okay, but like again, it gives you these pictures which are pretty, but they give you the impression that these planes spend their time up there, and they don't. They get up there occasionally. And you can make these planes do what it is you want to do, but...
I didn't know if I wanted like a donut cake or a sweet drink, and then they had cake batter, and I was like, both worlds, both worlds.
Nice. And so, like, those flights, those shots are just a little bit, you know, elusive. They don't show... I mean, they get semi-good airtime, but again, not what they're supposed to do. Vampire is my short-range plane. Those short-range planes are supposed to get the kind of airtime. You know, like, I mean, loiter? Yeah, they got good loiter. So, I mean, in a way, you're right. They get, okay, what's your definition of airtime? They got a good loiter time, but they're still, like, they don't leave the area around you. So, you know what I mean? It is what it is. And again, look into your roles, compare your planes, and this is why. If you've got a plane, does a little bit of stunting, will execute a loop, maybe two, and doesn't get away from you, perfect close air support plane. Perfect close support plane that we talk about. Which, as we break down the role in IVPAC, we actually call it close to short range. I like having a little bit of leeway in there. Plus, I wanted to get rid of, like, if you followed us, if you've been with us all this time, you know, like, 3 years ago, we actually had close range, short range, medium range, long range. It was 4. But I didn't like the breakdown because, A, that meant, like, that much more active duty. Basically, actually, that was it. It meant that much more active duty and the less likely of reserves. I like new designs and think everybody should design stuff, but we've got plenty, and I'd like to be able to stock reserves. So it was actually more to my benefit because a lot of you guys don't have that many, but I do, and I wanted them in there. So yeah, yeah, vampires get pretty good. And I don't know if you knew this, but I touched on this, like, the show with Mark, where, like, I had bigger news coming from Sil. A, we're changing our name. B, we're changing names of aircraft. I don't know if I'm really going to go through with that, because after the debate, I had talked with somebody else over the course of last week about that, and I didn't like where it was going, because I was like, every time I tell you about that was a vampire, and there's a Javelin and stuff like that, and Javelin, I would never change his name. I mean, damn plane's 30 years old. You know, the design is 30 years old. It's a freaking Javelin. Vampire's not that old, but still, when I say it, you know what it is. So I don't want to, like, I don't want to have it out there, and while it seems like a good idea, I don't want to have it out there and give it a new name and everybody's like, what the hell plane are you talking about? Oh, you knew it as Vampire. I don't want to have to caveat everything I say from now on with, oh, that was the plane you knew as a Vampire. Yeah, no. No, we're not doing that. So, we're not doing that. I think I'm probably going to stick with the names. Hopefully I'll develop more of a modern core here with more current planes, and I won't be like these new names. All the names that I had planned won't be, I'll just use those. So it just makes sense. But there's like so many names, so many plans I have. Like RR7 through 8, I envy that. I always thought that would be a good idea. I always thought it'd be a good idea to, like, I brought it up to Mark one time. Mark, I don't know if you remember it. You may not be there, but you'll watch this eventually, I think. Like, wouldn't it be cool if you named all your, like, interceptors something with an I, or your fighters something with an F? Kind of like how NATO used to do with Soviet block aircraft. Fish bed, fish pod, flanker, fulcrum, you know. They use the same first letters. I thought that might be a cool aspect. I wouldn't go as far as to name every single plane in my fleet with the same letter, because then it just gets boring. But, you know what I mean? So, I was hoping I had a good Osprey picture to show you. I do, but it's like an on-the-ground Osprey, and it doesn't really give you a great, like, Osprey is... I remember, Robert, you told me you had some Ospreys, and so did I. Osprey's old. I don't use Osprey anymore. This is Osprey sitting on the ground, like one of the... I probably still have this one. It's probably the only Osprey in my possession, like literally. This plane came out in my second generation when the war necessity, when I built 3 planes in a week. It's a stunter. It's the one that, well, it preceded freaking Banshee. But I think it preceded something. Banshee seriously replaced Osprey? That was a joke. To think that this plane, well, in this guise, has a Type 4 or a Type 3. No, it's Type 4. There's a Type 4 Osprey. Banshee would definitely not place Osprey 1 for 1. But in Banshee's original guise as a Type 1, it would. But now Vampires, though, man. See, this is why I don't... oh, you still use it? I bring it out whenever I had, like, warbirds. It, like, literally is a warbird. I mean, I retired it back in 2000... When did I retire that plane? Oh, this is embarrassing. You'd figure I would know this by now. I have to go to the sheet. Do I really got to go to the sheet? I'm going to have to go to the sheet. We're going to the sheet, people. because this is embarrassing. I know my plane's better than this, damn it. But apparently not. It's frustrating sometimes. Anyway, so, where the hell is it? Yeah, okay. Yeah, Banshee replaced. 2001. All right. So about 15 years of Osprey. Came out in 85. And I retired in 2001 when Banshee basically rolled out. But not this version. That was Type 1. Type 4 is beyond this. So again, yeah, I use it because I bring that one out. But that one that I just showed you the picture of, that spends time in the palace. It's not in the reserves. They're gone. They're retired. They've done their duty. They're done. So maybe I'll bring him back out. Maybe I'll play with him, but it would require busting the one out of the pad, or the palace rather. I don't know where it's at. I think it's in the palace. It's the only one I've got. It better freaking be in the palace. Yeah. But anyway, so the heat. Let me go back to this real quick. So just making sure that like I'm just thinking like you guys do anything challenging besides tape the hell out of your planes to make them humidity proof so shit doesn't warp. They shouldn't be warping. And getting your stuff prepared, you know, for like temperatures that rise like this. So, you know, and speaking of that, speaking of hotness, you guys saw this before. I'm going to reiterate this. This is what I've recently now made sure to discover. That this is ND21-1. This is, I was debating on whether or not the original, that ND19-3, the reverse slanted nose, the thing with no nose, the spider-like plane, was it this plane? No, it is not. It is 19.3 because of the way it's designed. So this is the first accepted new design for me for this year. ND21-1. Now, this is a little design technique, but this plane also, like, it's crucial to its design. We nicknamed it the Droop Snoot for an obvious reason, which you can kind of see. Sorry, let me hold it in attitude. This is, obviously you see straight line fuselage, but then the snoot droops. This is the point. So yeah, these are the new Droop Snoot blurs. This is, I don't know if this is the first one. This isn't really technically the first one. Although this is probably, if you mark this on your calendars, as it were, or mark this on the show, this is probably going to be the plane that leads to the first one. So, wanted to get it out there first. This is definitely the aircraft we'll be looking for. And these things fly pretty good. This one flies really good, actually. But this one's also been modified with stuff that I probably won't put on production aircraft. It's already got, you know, some technique there. It's got the upright fin. It's got a basic upright fin. I didn't want to modify it completely, so you see that the fuselage ends in the tip made from the upright fin instead of like a cut back, because I didn't want to go that route yet in case it failed, because that would really actually get rid of a lot of fuselage if I did that. Because you see the wing blends into a point like right there. If I cut that and followed, it would almost tail off there. That could be cool, and that may be in its future, but that's not its present. So you got to have a design lead to somewhere. So, however, this one also does have flaps. I don't know if you can see those as well. Now you can. It does have flaps, and that may be a crucial point to this plane. May have to keep those. Haven't decided yet. You saw this before. I'm just kind of showcasing it now that I officially know it's ND21-1, which is like, basically it's in D&T phase, and I still say it's in D&T phase because I'm still tweaking the design as I build. So it's not in T&E yet. T&E, basically how we do it, how I do it, when I get a hold of these things, like R&D, they're nothing, but I'm either plotting it, drawing it, getting the idea of writing down what the role I wanted to do, what I need, and perhaps starting to build something. That's R&D. by the time D&T rolls around, it's like this. I'm like, I've got a couple flyable examples, but we're working on what the design is going to look like. And then it'll be ND. I'll prefix it with ND of the year. Yeah, I'll definitely do a flight video on this one. Or actually, any of the ones I've built. I've got 5 of these. 4 or 5. And they all look different. So this is more like what the penultimate one is going to look like so far. This is the one that flew best. So if I step up to the point where it's T&E, the design is close to being finalized, I may actually give it a name. That's usually kind of tricky because I've only done that twice in the past. Okay, technically once. Burst is included in that, but Burst is really just an acronym and not the name. Arstea is kind of the same way. So Arstea doesn't technically count. Those two count as one. But Valkyrie, as you made on the show with me last time, or 3 weeks ago now, Valkyrie has suffered through the fact that it's been in T&E for the better part of the decade, and still is in T&E. So I was hoping you guys were building this plane for my show, our show, a month ago, and we're like, hey man, did you find something out for me? Because, or like, what works? Because I need some help. Come on, people, I need some help. So, yeah. Yeah, I'll do a flight video of these though. This is coming up. Probably gonna do one this weekend actually if the weather needs to hold. But I need to get out and fly. When you get a new house, you have to do house stuff. So I've been doing some house stuff, but I've been getting flights in now and then. And I don't know, Mark, since you're up here in the land of the Great White North, you're even further north. I don't know if you had a chance to experience it, but like, it's nice that you don't have storms and it's raining every day and it's humid every day. But now that you're here approaching the summer, it's getting to be humid. And it can get pretty humid up here. But also, it's very, very windy. And it's like the days that are the nicest are also the freaking windiest. So, there's that. And I would have had a lot more test flights. But seriously, man, there's been 2 days of stuff going on. There's been 4 days of rain. No, 3 days. Sorry, I apologize. 3 days of rain. Quite a few days of heat, but they were coupled with such humidity I was scared, even though I did take vampires out and something else out during those days, because I'm trying not to be scared of humidity, seriously. The plane dies, the plane dies. Guess what? You can build another one. Even when they're warped, you can take it apart and build one look just like it, so. I know, he keeps doing. I'm so glad he's doing the show. We haven't seen him on here in a while either. Ben, you out there? What you been doing, man? Shout out to Y13, man. Stop on by. We miss you, bro. Yeah, right, though. He hasn't done a flight video. We can't convince OAE to do a flight video. Robert, man, you holding us up. You are propping us up, and we appreciate it, bro. But, like, seriously, come this weekend, I'm going to get one up there for you. I may be able to post one from the archives. Something from last year. I didn't think, looking back, I found this, by the way. Something else I was doing. Then I went back through the videos, a couple of videos I flew last year, and I don't think I posted them, so I can get them up there too. Probably put one up on this channel, one on my channel, or maybe both on this channel. I like to do a more IVPAC related, because I don't want IVPAC to turn into just these shows, so, you know that. But, yeah. Yeah. We need to get you, speaking of that, we need to get you able to, Robert, you need to be able to post them up to this channel too. I mean, because obviously you posting them on your channel, great, that's perfect. But I like everybody, if you're a member, I like you to be able to post to here. I don't want to be the only one. I don't want Mark to be the only one. I mean, like, it's great, but it's like that's why I wanted the Facebook page. Everybody can contribute, So, yeah, that'd be cool. Yeah, get a video that, dude, I see the helicopter. Hells yeah. But anyway, good talk, people. An hour and a half, 10:20. It would be 2.5 hours if I started on time, but I'm going to dip it. But, hey, man. All right. I appreciate you, man. Robert, I thank you for coming out. How do you post to the channel? I'll have to get you the info. Hey, let's do a trade. You give me that map where your damn base is. I'll give you this so you can post up here. Well, you should be able to. Being a member, like, you can access the documents, right? you can check the map because you should be able to alter that stuff. Because you should be able to log in. If not, I'll get with you and you can get it back up. And, I mean, you know how the internet works. If it's on Google, if you got Google, you got YouTube access. You know what I'm saying? So, the DL, there you go, right? Everybody knows this. If you got Google access, you got YouTube access and vice versa. So if you can log into one, you can log into all. But anyway, yeah, I'll get you that just to make sure you got that. Because remember you asked me about, you asked me about, like, being able to see the documents. So we shared them with you. And OAE talks about that too. But the truth is, like, me and Mark and, like, okay, so me, NASA's Missile, KIA, and I believe Gent, all of us should, well, you two obviously, but we should all actually have access. You shouldn't need to share it. You should just be able to go into it. So, again, let me get with you off the show, and I'll make sure that you have, like, access. Just please don't fuck too much stuff up. I'm kidding. Like, if you need, like, I want you to have access, because if, like, the map, you could play at the map on your own. You could, like, oh, you got an aircraft, you know when it rolled out, you know when it retired. You can do that. I don't have to worry about that. Instead of me asking you for all that shit, it'd be just like, well, I know when that did, and you can put it in there. See, I'd much prefer if you guys did it. There's only a couple sheets that I don't want you to play with because, well, okay, I shouldn't say that. I'm sorry. I shouldn't say it. It's not like I'm God, although IVPAC is my creation. But I just, like, for my sense of organization, if you play with it and mess it up, I'll probably lose my OCD mind. But again, no, I would like to get you all to be able to, like, update it so I don't have to worry about it, because sometimes you need a secretary, man. But anyway, yeah, I'll get with you, make sure you know this stuff firsthand. Get you the damn pages. But again, yeah, it's all how it works. You got Google, you got it all. So, anyway, hour and a half. This is a good size. I appreciate it. Robert, thank you, man. Thanks for coming out. I love talking with you, bro. This was good. We got some good airplane talk in here, even if it wasn't too much paper. I'm sorry we didn't do a build. Abby, you're not here, man. You did pressure me to do a build. Couldn't do a build. It's coming up on my channel, though. So, I keep saying it. I'll keep saying it, but I got that channel where I want it to now. So, next video, we're going to rock this. All right. So, yeah. Thanks for coming out. We appreciate you guys. Come on, peep in. Post up to the Facebook page some flights, some pics. We'd love to see them. Yeah. Good to see y'all. We'll be back next week. Sorry about last week, but might do a little bit of Friday night flights. You never know. But you know how we say, always remember,